Welcome to the Flare Up Show. I'm really excited today. I have a beautiful guest who is very successful and just very exciting. I'm really excited about all the projects that she's involved with right now. And there's a topic that she focuses on, which is introversion, which is something I'm very interested in as an awkward introvert myself.
Mm.
So tell us, special guest, tell us your name. Who are you? Where do you live? And what are you known for?
Yeah, so my name is Inga Faison-Cavitt. I go by Inga Faye. I am an authenticity strategist, and I'm sure many of you are thinking, what does that mean? Basically, what it means is I help female entrepreneurs with introverted tendencies with their lead generation and their sales process strategies so they don't have to do small talk because we don't like that. In addition to that, I also help women, female leaders who value their appearance and are looking for quick and easy solutions that really allow them to rock their God-given attributes. So both sides of my business are centered around authenticity, really just making people feel good in their skin and feel confident so they can do more and really walk out their passion while they're here on this earth. So
I love that. It is the feeling of belonging and the ability to create connection is so important in business.
right.
Uh, Tell us about what are the advantages that you've seen in business to be authentic and to be ourselves wherever we
Well,
go,
one
to be
thing,
who we are.
yeah, for sure. I guess when I think about my entrepreneur journey, of course, I started in direct sales, and I felt like when I was building my business initially, I was kind of faking it till you make it kind of thing, because that's what I was taught to do. Most of the people really all of the people that I interacted with were extroverts. So, of course, what are people going to teach you, right? They're going to teach you what they know. So often, many of the strategies and tips and tricks that I were given were very extroverted. So I spent a lot of energy faking and being something that I wasn't, which took a lot of energy out of me, which I always wondered at the end of the day why I was so tired. And after just really getting in tune with myself and getting to know myself better, really working to be my authentic self, I realized it was because I was being something that I wasn't, which is not an extrovert. Now, oftentimes people will hear me on stages and they'll hear me on this podcast and they'll be like, oh, girl, she's an extrovert, but I'm not. If I talk about something that I'm very passionate about and that I care about, of course, I'm going to have a very strong and dominant voice about it. But at the end of the day, after this podcast, I am definitely going to have my quiet time so I can recharge because as an introvert, that's what I do. So that's really to me what authenticity means in business is just being your genuine self. Because I know during that particular time when I was building my business in direct sales, I know that I was given this fake energy. I'm sure the people that I was interacting with felt that fake energy. And as a result of that, I don't think I was as successful as I could have been in that time of my life. But now that I'm in tune with who I am and who I want to serve and how I want to serve them, I think I'm a better partner to help people really reach their desired promised land, whether it be a beauty promised land or a business promised land. I'm your girl. So,
Hmm. So, what drove you into business and being an entrepreneur, especially as an introvert? Is it something that you were always interested in, or were you always drawn to sort of leading and working with people, or is this something that you had to grow into? Of course, you had the journey of growing into your own self doing these things, but also the business side. Is this something that's been natural to you, or what was your story, if you don't mind sharing?
well, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer by training. So I was always with a whole bunch of guys all the time. So when I first started in my entrepreneur journey, it was really just to hang out with some positive, encouraging women. Because I did not have that. I've always been a tomboy. I've always been a jock. So it just seems like I was always around the guys. So when that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start it. So as that evolved and I started seeing people and the way they were living their life, and I was really not liking my male testosterone type of environment that I was in all of the time. I dreamed of having a life where I could be in control of who I was working with, how long I was working, and where I was working. So that was really my eye-opening experience that I wanted more than what I was doing. And the corporate life was not meeting that for me. So I was basically just trying to figure out a way that I could have that freedom of flexibility, like I just described, and still be making excellent money like I was. So at that particular time in my life, I thought it was going to be via my direct sales business. But as COVID happened, as many of us went through that and we were trying to figure everything out, I realized that I just didn't want to help women just from a beauty aspect, that I really wanted to help them from kind of an inside out aspect, to really help them walk in their light and really be the person that they were meant to be. So I started this coaching practice, and at the time that I started it, I was centered around mindset because I felt that I really wanted to help people have more of a growth mindset than a fixed mindset, because I just saw that people were just so stagnant when they were with the fixed mindset. So I really wanted to help people grow, but I knew I wanted to be with people that wanted to grow, not that I had to convince to grow. So, and oftentimes in my direct sales business, sometimes I felt like I had to pull people to do what they needed to do. And I didn't want that. I wanted people that really wanted it and were willing to do the work and make it happen. So I created this course. I have a very strong background in fitness. And I called it the prosperity scope. Scope your mind like you scope your body. So I was all excited about that. But when I put it and when I sent it out to market, it was a flop. Nobody got what I was trying to say.
Oh, it's so hard in the
So
beginning for that clarity. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, but I mean, you don't know until you try, right? So I realized that as in anything else, it was an iterative type of process. So I worked with coaches, got in a whole bunch of masterminds, and just kind of figured out how I was going to serve my people. And just came up with this authenticity strategist because I felt like it was helping me work both aspects of my business and really allow me to be true to myself while helping others do the same. So that became my focus, and that's really kind of been my journey.
Hmm. If it's okay to ask this, because I'm always really, really interested, because I know with myself, like I'm a bit of a goofy personality, and sometimes in business, I feel like, oh, I need to be stern and straight, where other people are maybe a little more serious, presenting and direct,
Right.
and but they get pressured into, especially if they're a woman, smiling, making themselves, peaceful and do you know what I mean? Like trying to make everybody else smooth, make the situation smooth. And when a woman doesn't do that, it's sometimes. So, could you describe what your authentic self is compared to what you thought you had to be? And then how did you get back and sort of really step into who you are and who you're meant to be, regardless of everybody's perceptions or reactions? Because there's a lot of people out there, I find anyways, that when we get authentic, we're at peace, but then other people are a little like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, I guess it was I I I felt like before I kind of walked into myself, I think I felt like I had to be the center of the party. I felt like I had to not take no for an answer.
Mhm.
I think I pissed off a lot of people doing that, not really listening to people and hearing them out, coming from a place of service more so than trying to just get
Yeah.
somebody to buy something. Um, so that part of it didn't feel good to me, and I did it anyway because I thought that's what I had to do is to succeed. Now I mean, if you want it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. I mean, that means that we're not meant to work together kind of thing. And I'm okay with that now. I think I was so concerned about the numbers. I mean, my slogan is treat people like people and not numbers. I was so concerned about the numbers because that's what I was taught. It's a numbers game. And not really being in tune with the person or even the buying cycle, because just thinking that just because I walked up to somebody and told them about the things that I could help them do, doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily buy from me instantaneously. And just having a better understanding of that, and then the power of knowing who and what your niche is, that everybody's not your customer. I was often told that everybody was my customer, which is very
Oh.
far from the truth too. So then it made me kind of think, okay, well, is it me? And that's why I'm not being successful, because I'm being told that everybody wants it. But when I talk to some of my friends and family, they don't. So what's up? So those kind of things really help me kind of figure out along the way how I truly wanted to walk out my business and interact with my customers and really have more of a relationship, authentic relationship with them more than a transactional relationship, because I didn't like that
Mhm.
either. Especially when I would call somebody and genuinely be calling them to check in on them, but they thought I was calling them to buy product. Okay, I can't just call you just to say hi, how your mama doing, how your kids doing, kind of thing. So yeah,
Yes. Yeah, when people are like, back away,
yeah.
girl."
So that part of it, yeah,
Yeah.
that part of it, it really initially it really was a struggle for me, because it was like, okay, X people are telling me this, but I really feel this way. So does that mean I got to walk out what X people are telling me? Because it doesn't feel good to me to be that way. I'm gonna do it this way, and I'm gonna just figure it out. I feel better doing it this way, and it feels more authentic to who I truly am. So this is what I've learned to do. So I mean, over time, I mean, I had those moments where I was going back and forth because I was taught one way and was doing it something altogether different. But yeah, it has definitely been a journey, but I've learned to just kind of follow my gut at the end of the day. I think it's not gonna tell me wrong, because the
No.
only person that knows how to be me and be the best me is me. I can't talk to somebody else about that. So if I'm being true to myself, I think I'm doing the right thing. That's what I've learned, at least anyway.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I come from a direct sales background too, so I can relate to that a lot as well. And I remember the first time I realized that I hurt someone when I was trying to help, sitting across the table from them, booked an appointment. I thought I had booked it clearly, but they thought I was coming for tea. And then they were very upset. They felt like they were bait and
Bait and
switch.
switch. That's right.
So, and I was heartbroken because hurting is definitely not my intention.
Right.
Um, and I'm like, I feel complicit in this and I don't want to feel that way anymore. And yes, and then you start doing things the way you do. And it's okay if that's the way you do, you keep doing that. But
Right.
I'm also going to do things this way. And I think we all have to share those examples, which is exactly what you're helping people do. I can't imagine how freeing that must feel for you. Like, did you
Yeah, it
feel like
feels
major effects, like even just in your health and well-being? I imagine it was a
yeah,
much
it
kinder
is
place for
it's
you.
yeah, it is so awesome. It's such a better place to be, I promise you. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like it's funny. I love authenticity in the way that people are like, oh, what are you gonna say? I'm like, I don't know, we're not there yet. But when I get there, I might say something like this, but in the
Right.
moment, right? And that's a really great place to be. And it doesn't have to be perfect or great. It just has to be what it is.
Right.
And I really believe that things meant for you, you can't chase them away if you're being yourself, right? They will
That's
find their
right.
way. You keep putting yourself in the right place and doing the right things by you, things really start to align and work out, don't they?
For sure. Yes.
So I'd love to get back to sort of this extroversion, introversion, which still relates on this topic, because I know that even when I was in direct sales too, there would be a lot of people like, no, I'm too shy, I'm not a salesperson, that kind of
Right.
thing. And I'd be like, no, you don't need to be. You need to be yourself, right?
Right.
So, but introverts it's not about comparing extroverts to introverts. It's not like one is better than the other. We're not
Right.
trying to I always find when we compare, like we're comparing weaknesses to strengths and vice
Yep.
versa, or perceptions that aren't even true. But
Yep.
both styles serve a purpose. So, how do you see the strengths and success in introverts, and what are the opportunities in maybe being someone that is more introverted?
Yeah. So the strengths of an introvert is, first and foremost, we are deep thinkers.
Mhm.
And I will use an example just here lately with my husband. Okay, so my husband is very much an extrovert. I think we had the refrigerator went out here at the house. So I'm thinking about it. I'm literally thinking, okay, so what are we gonna do? I'm strategizing in my head. And he's looking at me like, oh, Inga, You're going to worry yourself to death. It's not that deep. I was like, dude, this is what I do. Okay. I'm working to figure this thing out. Now you figure it out your way, but let me be me right here because this is what I'm doing. I'm figuring it out. So we are deep thinkers. We're not shoot from the hip kind of folks. So if you really want us to be our best, you are going to do what Christy did. She sent me these questions that allowed me to kind of think through what I was going to say. And so I wouldn't be shooting from the hip.
Mhm.
But oftentimes, be it a meeting or whatever's going on, people want you to tell them right then. You ask them a question and they want you to give them an answer, but we don't operate that way. We have to marinate. So it's in knowing that, I think it's really imperative for you give people that time to do that and don't expect them to just shoot from the hip. Because oftentimes when that happens, it's really not a well thought out answer. It's just something that they just came up with just out of the spare of the moment. Not saying that that could be bad, because it may be an excellent idea, but a well thought out idea, weighing the pros and the cons, typically what an introvert would do is going to be, I'm telling you, something that's golden. It's going to be a golden nugget that you're definitely going to want to hold on to. So that's one thing that's our strength. Another thing is we empathize with people. We're very empathetic. So when something is going on or if somebody has a problem, that's even more of a reason why we need time to kind of marinate, because we're going to want to kind of see if we can figure it out, if we have a viable solution. And if we don't, maybe we know somebody that could. So that's definitely a strength of ours too. Last but definitely not least, and there are many, but I'll just give you quick three. The third one that I'll give you is we're very creative.
Mhm.
And when you give us our time, you will, as my father would say, you will be days glazed in the maze on what we actually come up with when you give us our space. So those would be the three things that I think that we held that our biggest strengths that will be. Now I don't remember the other question that you asked me. So
Opportunities for introverts.
so opportunities. I mean, I think the opportunities is the sky's the limit for an introvert. I think it just depends on what their passion or what they really care about. You give us a stage. We oftentimes people don't think we can speak, but if we're passionate about something or if it's in our zone of genius, we're gonna rock it out. Now, after it's all over with, we're definitely gonna need our time to recharge, but we will rock it out for sure. It makes me think about even when I'm any kind of speaking event that I do, or I can remember when I taught aerobics and I used to travel around the country teaching different aerobics instructors by giving them their continuing education units. I would be laser focused when it came time to do my classes. But I get say the class was like from 12 to 6. So right before that, I'm looking at all my material, making sure I got everything straight. But at 6 o'clock, you talking about shutdown mode. Shut down, give me my bed. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. I just need my time to recharge. And that's what I did. And that's typically what I do with speaking events. It may
Mhm.
not be go to bed. It may go walk around the block, be by myself for a while, but it's still a time for me to recharge myself, and that's by myself. So just knowing those things and being able to give people their space to allow them to be themselves is very, very important.
Absolutely. I agree. Last night I held an event and it was amazing. There was lots of energy, it was wonderful people. And then today I'm like, why do I just want to be a human burrito all morning? And I'm like, oh, because I didn't like decompress. I just went like
Exactly.
straight to like, yeah, right? Just went back to life. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh, like you know better.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
The
I
power
also
of the pause is
yeah,
real.
I was just gonna say that. I actually just wrote on my book pause. So I'm like, I want to talk about the pause because
Yeah.
that's exactly what you touched on. When I when we work with other coaches, it's often about get off the stage, give them time to think because you're asking really deep questions and big questions. Give them a minute. It takes
Right.
a minute, right? Like, don't put the pressure on, like, clock's ticking, or we get uncomfortable with silence because we're nervous about what they're thinking.
Right.
Um, so we keep jumping in to try and clarify, or change a subject if we get too uncomfortable. But
Yep.
that's on us, right? That means we're uncomfortable, not them. And it means that we have some fear that we need to work through. But if we could approach those pauses with curiosity, that's when some real magic comes out, right? Like when they have the time to think, like that's when, just what you said, that, what did you say was the saying that you said, glaze?
Oh yeah, days glazing the days. My father's
Yeah,
stomach. Yeah.
yeah. I would rather dazzle you with my brilliance than befuddle you with my quick bullshit, right? Like the
Exactly.
that's, yeah, important. So I want to feel good about my answers. So just give me a moment and let me be like, oh, good question. Thank you. And
Exactly.
make space for people to like, yes, I love that. It's brilliant.
Yes,
Thank you for sharing all that.
for
Did
sure.
you want to add something else there?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what I found, and when I talk to my community and other folks that are introverted or have introverted tendencies, they agree that that's definitely something that they do. And I guess one thing I would just bring to light too is oftentimes I know when I was working on my marketing research, I found that oftentimes people don't want to be known as an introvert. It has a negative connotation to it, unfortunately. So I know even in my marketing, as a result of that, I never say straight introvert. I say introverted tendencies. And oftentimes when I say it like that, there are more people that will raise their hand than someone just saying, hey, I'm just an introvert. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, I agree. I agree. So what type of people are coming to work with you? Who are your, what's going on in their lives? Who is your target audience?
Yeah, so my target audience are female coaches and consultants. I chose this group because, first of all, they know the power of a mentor and learning from other people to lessen the learning curve, because essentially that's what they're helping other folks do. They have a growth mindset type of mentality, and they realize they understand the power of mentorship. So when you think about coaches, maybe somebody just starting off, I often find a lot of them are working with referrals, and there's nothing wrong with the referrals. Or they're working with people just word of mouth, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, especially I've learned this in my direct sales business, I guess that's where it came from, is you want to have a diverse well, you want to diversify your lead generation. You don't want to just rely on one source. So if you're a person that wants to do ads, I don't do ads. I don't like ads. That's just a personal choice of mine. But if you want to do ads, that's one way. You got referrals, that's another way. You're going to networking events and virtual in-person networking events. You got that as well. But you got to have more than one way of getting leads. And just really making sure people understand that, and then also knowing the difference between passive and active lead generation, because there is a difference. You posting on social media is a very passive way for you to get leads. Why, you might ask? Because you're waiting, you're putting your information out there. That's first. Secondly, you're hoping that the algorithm will show it to the people you want them to see it, right? And then you're hoping that they're going to see what you have and then respond in some way to let you know that they like what you had or were attracted by what you had presented to them.
Mhm.
So granted, you can have those type of methods in there, but you do also want an active type of lead generation as well, because especially in the beginning, when you're just starting out, those passive lead generations are not going to make you money. The way you're going to make money is to actively go out and get the people that you're looking for. Now, I know you probably saying, well, Inga, didn't you just say that you shouldn't be doing that? Grant, there's a method to the madness when you do this, because you're not coming out and asking somebody to buy a product or service from you. You're actually finding out, you're really filtering is what you're doing. You're talking to them, or you're asking them enough questions to figure out if they're your person or not, because you don't want to get in the business of convincing, because if you have to convince them to buy whatever you're getting them to buy, then you're going to have to convince them to use it on a consistent basis. And it's just a whole bunch of energy you don't need to be wasting. So
Mhm.
find the people that want what you have and then give it to them.
I love it. I love it. And where can people find you?
Yes, so people can find me on my website. It's ingafay.com. You can go there. All my social media handles are there. I have information, tons of freebie guides and checklists and different things to help you with your lead generation and sales process. And of course, if you want to connect to see if we are collaboration fit or even a fit of working together, all that information is there as well.
Awesome. Amazing. And before we wrap up, what is one thing you would want uh, the world to know most, or women of the world to know most?
I would say I would want more women to know that they're awesome and they just need to start. I
Mhm.
think so many times people are fearful of the unknown, and I can remember back in the day when I had done that myself, overthinking, not sure how things are gonna work out because it's not planned out like they would normally have it planned out. Typically what people are used to when it comes to being an employee, going to school, getting a job, working there, getting your Go Watch type of thing, or getting your house in Florida. Um, Especially entrepreneurship is not a straight shot like that. It's very much a ebbs and flow. And oftentimes people want to see the full staircase when you're not going to be shown the full staircase. You're just going to be shown the next step. And the only way you're going to know the step after that is to do the first step. So that would be the thing that I would want to tell folks is to just start. And then you would be amazed the staircase that you will actually walk up if you just take that first step initially.
I love that. Thank you so much, Inga Faye, for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I know
Like,
that we'll talk again soon.
yes.